Welcome everyone to a special episode of the X Button. I am one of your hosts, Alejandro, and with me is the gardener.
Paul. Hey guys.
How you doing, Paul?
In addition, we also have somebody
Yes,
else,
wait.
our
And
shadowy figure.
yes, I was waiting to introduce him, but I wanted to hear you from you first. How you doing, Paul?
Oh, I'm doing well. I didn't realize you were talking to me.
Yeah.
I am doing well. I am a lot more satisfied than I was yesterday for the things that we were watching.
Mhm.
In fact, as you mentioned, I kind of wish that we had actually recorded this today rather than that. And
Because you were gardening.
I
That's
was
what.
gardening. That's my side hustle slash way that I survive. So I had to do that in like 105-degree weather,
Ooh.
Fahrenheit for any of my international people. Um, Man, it sucked. And I would have much rather catch all of this showcase, but it sounds like we had some really cool stuff going on. Alejandro, how are you
Yes,
doing
I
today?
am doing good. And today's especially because obviously we just had a great showcase with opening night live, but today's also a special episode because we have our first official third guest, like third chair as
Yes.
a guest for the X button. The shadowy figure that you probably see there, our own Zachity, also known as Hack Hobbs, also known as the pathological loser, and the one that gave us the name for the X button. How you doing, Zach?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing
I
good. I
want to
wish,
clarify, guys, that his channel is named Pathological Loser, not that
yes.
Alejandro was taking a shot at.
No. I always mention him in our descriptions because he's the one that made the art, our
Yes.
X button art. So he's always there in our credits. So yeah, he has a YouTube channel, like an art animated YouTube channel called The Pathological Loser. So Zach, how you been? We haven't podcasted in like a million years.
Yeah, I think it's been over a year since I was on the StatX because that was last summer, right?
Yeah, it was no, the last time I think we podcasted was Statics Radio, like the second to last one when we talked about China, the whole
Oh
thing with
yeah.
Blitzchung. It was
Oh,
the four of
wow.
us. It was you, PJ, Paul, and I.
Yeah.
When we're winding down the podcast. So yeah, it's been a while. We were not even doing videos, so it was just our disembodied voices.
Yeah. And now we got me as a shadow figure.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a step up.
Yeah, you're part of Organization 13, so the darkness is full of you right now. So we'll be hearing your shadowy thoughts about this event. So top thoughts, opening night live. What do you guys think of the event?
I mean, overall, it was way more well-rounded than the Xbox one. I don't even really want to talk about that, actually.
Yeah,
That was
which
just
by
disappointing.
yes, the Xbox showcase that happened on August 24th, we actually did a Xbox reacts to it. Me
Go
and
check
Paul.
that out for a lot of disappointment.
Oh yes, it was, and a lot of us talking about Destiny 2 because we had just seen the actually much better Destiny 2
Yes.
revealed that we also did a react. So you can find both reactions there at the XCape Media YouTube channel. Zach, did you get to see yesterday's stuff? Or just
No, I didn't see that stuff.
okay? Good thing you didn't
You
miss
didn't miss
anything.
anything.
That's what
What
I
do you?
gathered.
Yeah, what do you think overall, like top level of these
Of the Gamescom?
of what we just saw? Mhm.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really packed for something that happened only a few months after the Game Fest.
Mhm.
I was surprised how many games they jammed in for the opening night alone.
Yes. Not only that, he packed more games here than at E3. That's nuts. I was like looking at the list.
Yeah, really. Alejandro, could you explain something to me?
Mhm.
I know enough about Gamescom as a general idea, but how does it actually work? Because opening night live was today, but there's more days that
Yes.
we're
So
expecting.
think about it like this. Obviously, in the US, E3 happens. Over in
Yeah.
Germany, Gamescom happens.
Oh,
E3
okay.
opens
So
with
I
press
wasn't
conferences,
sure.
and then there's like a few days for people to go check out preview games and all of that. Obviously, because we're still in the middle of a stupid pandemic, no one's
Yeah.
going to actually be at an event getting hands-on unless it's at like very secluded, quarantine-free areas where they can preview games over there in Germany. But
Mhm.
yeah, this is basically E3 part two and European centric. So
I see. Okay. I didn't actually know that's what Gamescom was. I knew it was like a parallel to E3, but I didn't know like the German base of it, the connections basically, and why it's so important. Um, I honestly thought this was just another of Geoff Keighley's like, hey, I run this whole thing
so the thing is
situations.
that Gamescom after like 2015 kind of went under in like importance. There was not as many showcases that there used to be. Sony used to have like conferences here,
Right.
and then they left Gamescom to go to Paris Games Week, which happens in October. Then
Oh.
Microsoft eventually started doing stuff here in Gamescom, and then they eventually left, started doing their own thing. So Geoff Keighley was like, Gamescom needs to be a thing, because at least when before everyone could gather together, Gamescom was the biggest show of the world, like almost close to 500,000 people in a single place.
Okay.
So more packed than E3. So people say the people have gone there say it's horrifying. You see all the amount of people there. So you can see
Really?
why it's not ideal for Gamescom to be normal again, considering where we're at right now. So
Yeah.
and I just see like a little
I manifested my stand briefly just to flex on everyone. That's all
Yes.
that happened.
but nothing will
Um,
beat you being beheaded during my abandon rant.
That was funny. I think all I did was I like leaned back enough and it just
Yes.
like decided to ignore
Behead
all of
you,
that.
yeah, which was fitting for the kind of game that we're talking about. So yeah, let's not beat around the bushes. Yeah, opening night live. Keighley said he had 40 games in Tau. Plus he had some that he had in his pre-show that I didn't write here because they were like, they're not as important as this one. So number one, we opened the show with a new Saints Row game, a Saints Row reboot.
I'm very glad they're rebooting it personally. I think they could have continued the direction, but that would have been much more of a press, more of a stretch, I think, to really sell the commitment to this style from like their whole Matrix thing, the outer space.
I mean,
Earth
we
got
went to hell, right?
destroyed.
We also went
Well,
to hell.
yeah,
in
and
the-
John,
These
what
were
was it?
four.
Got out of hell.
Mhm.
That was entertaining, but also like it was funny, but it wasn't funny in the way that I like Saints Row. It was like I like when it's like Saints Row 2 and 3 where it's reality, but you've got some really goofy stuff going on personally.
I wouldn't agree with 3. 3 went off the deep end. I mean, we had horde mode.
3
with-
is great.
It's
love
funny. No,
3.
3 is, but I mean, it's the game with the dildo sword. I mean, we've gone
Yeah.
down the deep end with that one. So
I think there's aspects of it like the story of 3 where you see like there's like that gap between the story of 3, which is basically a Fast and Furious movie, and then everything else in 3, which is like where you get really weird, I would say. And then 4 just kind of took all of that and mixed everything into it.
superhero stuff.
4 was cool, but it didn't feel right because it was like you were playing a prototype game with just like a Saints Row skin on it, because that's what had happened. They'd bought the company that made Prototype or something.
No.
And was it not?
No.
I could have sworn they bought him.
Prototype was Radical Entertainment, and they got closed by Activision, and then Saints Row was Volition. It still is a Volition game. The ones that bought it was Deep Silver. The Deep Silver bought Volition from THQ when THQ went under.
Okay. So that's what I'm thinking of. But it was definitely some of the similar animations from like the flying mechanic, and some other things that I was thinking of. The running animation, that was the other one. But anyway, so yeah, I like this return to form, if I could call it that.
And it still looks crazy. Did you see, like, you saw the trailer, right? Yeah, it's like you also saw it, right, Zach? The Saints Row.
I didn't catch that one though.
Okay, what time did you jump in at the Game Pass?
Of Midnight Suns.
Oh, okay, then now that's the next thing. So yeah, oh yeah, before we jump to Midnight Suns at February 25th, 2022. I like this new announcement. Release date super close. I mean, it could still get delayed. We're still in the stupid pandemic, but we know there's a release date. We know it's at least close. So,
and I will say it's only showed a CG trailer, so that means that it can be
there was
kind
gameplay
of at any point.
There was gameplay. There was
Was
gameplay
there?
after. Yeah, there was.
Heck. Okay, so I missed that because I jumped in right when Call of Duty was on.
Mhm.
So I went in and looked at the trailer and it was just CG. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
so
Call of Duty
I
was
will
the
have
third
to-
thing. Call of Duty was the third thing that was shown.
Man, so I didn't miss much then, did I?
No.
Cool. So yeah, I at least got to see the CG trailer. After this, I'm gonna go check out the gameplay.
Yeah, so you jumped in, just mentioned Call of Duty. You saw the Call of Duty thing too, right, Zach?
Yeah,
Thoughts on that one?
it's a Call of Duty game.
Right, exactly. Not much to say. It's just a Call of Duty game in World War II that looks very pretty, and now you can climb bricks. That was basically it. And there's a multiplayer alpha coming tomorrow for PS4 and PS5 players, so we'll get to play it soon. No need
I
to.
need to actually download that. I thought it looked very good, obviously. Everything looked solid. It was something I wasn't like I had put it on in the background while I was finishing something else up. And I'm just excited to see how the engine handles all this.
It looks
I
so
liked
pretty. Oh my god!
the
Like, is
it
it the
almost
only
looked
thing?
like there was some exploration going on in there. I mean, why would you put in a rock climbing mechanic if you weren't going to have that? So if that's the case, I mean, hey, if you're gonna let us step back and let us kind of do some things in the engine and in the environment, I'm fine with that because clearly the I don't want to say handholdy, but the very linear and focused um, missions for Call of Duty might be on the way out, and this might be their opportunity to jump into some uncharted territory.
Agreed, and they need to because it's long in the tooth. So that was the third thing shown, but let's flash back to the second
One
thing.
quick question.
Uh-huh.
Did they show anything about that alternate history side of it, or is it still more
It's
just like
still
on the
just, yeah, it's still more
Okay,
just it seems like fictitious but realistic World War II. So it's like,
got it.
yeah. So
All right, next thing.
remember the back in E3 where there were some rumors that there was a Marvel game made by the XCOM dudes.
Yep.
Well, it was revealed today at Geoff Keighley's thing. So it's called Marvel's Midnight Suns, a tactical RPG that's focused on the supernatural side of Marvel. So think Blade, Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, even though it also includes characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, and all of that. And apparently you're gonna play as a character that you custom built. It's basically, if you see the trailer,
So that's what that
it's what they
was.
revive, and it's supposed to be
Okay.
like the daughter of Lilith, which is one of the demonic characters from Marvel. Gameplay reveal happening on September 1st. Level of excitement. What do you think of an idea of a tactical RPG like this in the
First
Marvel
things
universe?
first, Zach. This is your territory, so let us
Yes.
have it.
Okay. So just one thing to say first, it's wild how popular superhero media is.
Yeah.
Only recently that we're getting video games.
Right.
Definitely.
Like
To
the
this
Avengers
level.
came out in 2012, right?
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, 2012.
Yeah. And it's 2018 when we finally got the Avengers video game.
No, it was just 2020. We got a Spider-Man in 2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it just blows my mind how many great IP is out there right now that's just being sat on. And
Mhm.
like Star Wars, for instance, we got like 5 games over the past 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bunch of cancel games also.
Yeah, a whole bunch of canceled. It just blows my mind, but it's really cool that we're finally getting a new Marvel game that's not Marvel's Avenger. Sorry,
Mhm.
Alejandro.
It's
I
not
know,
like a
I know.
derivative of something
Exactly.
else. I hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's not a service game. It's actually gonna feel different because we don't get tactical RPGs. So there's something there. It's not a Destiny alike as much as I like it, despite myself. By the way,
Zach, do you have any
I play like
other
50 hours of the War for Wakanda now, so I have a
You
problem.
are trapped, my guy. I'm gonna be praying for you. But question to Zach. So what do you think about, because this is like all new to me. Apparently Midnight Suns is like, I don't know if it was like a comic run or something, but somebody said it was based on something existing in the past. What are your thoughts on why they're choosing this specific run, the characters they're picking, and anything like that?
So I'll be honest, I'm more familiar with DC
DC.
side of comics,
Fair.
but I know Blade and Ghost Rider, obviously, but I have no idea what's going on with the Midnight Suns. It's totally out of left field for me, but I'm all about it. It's such a cool thing to delve into,
Mhm.
especially with all people talking about Mephisto, which is,
Once
obviously,
again, after the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
yeah, like people are primed for supernatural stuff in Marvel, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know why. Is it just because WandaVision kind of touched on the story that had the character original? That's why everyone wants it. It's so weird because I know
I
he's all over the
think
Avengers comic right now.
because
It's
of how
weird.
big they went with Endgame, I would think that people's natural next tendency is, well, you got to do two things, multiverse or supernatural. And as we now know, they're kind of doing both in some ways
Mhm.
because you can't really do the same thing. I mean, we saw with with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, you can't just go back to where you were and have another Winter Soldier but worse.
Mhm.
Um, and have the same levels of success. Now people want that next jump, and even if you're not really like fully um, expanding or escalating, you at least have to do something off to the side that you haven't touched on yet. And I think this is the same pitfall that a lot of sequels fall into. So this is good that they're trying something different rather than going bigger and only bigger. At least for me, this is all new ground for me as well for Midnight Suns. I got to see there was a few people. It almost looked like Hella. There was Hawkeye with his hood. I love the outfits everyone has. I'm a
Mhm.
huge black and
It
gold
has a good
sucker.
art style.
Represent.
It has a really
Uh,
great art style, I would say, just from what they
Yeah.
showed.
And like I think this was Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Wolverine. I think they threw them in for the whole sake of it, of course. But for the fact that it's going to be a custom character running this, that's going to be really awesome. I don't know how this will work. I would like to see some gameplay on it
Next
before I
week,
really get
September 1st.
excited.
September 1st.
Hey,
That's
that-
when they're showing. IGN got exclusive gameplay reveal, so I'll be watching that.
Mm.
I'll also say this: it's funny that they threw Wolverine here. You can kind of
was-
sense when games started being made, because for example, the Avengers, the Marvel's Avengers game by Crystal mentions a lot about the Inhumans. That was
Mhm.
when Marvel still didn't have the X-Men. They were like fighting
Right.
with 20th Century Fox, and they were trying to make the Inhumans a thing. So now I think this one started around the time they finally got Fox, and because they were like intentional
Well-
about not putting the X-Men in, because they didn't want to send anything towards Fox, because they were like, we don't want them to have
Right.
the money. So
Because it wasn't because they didn't have the rights to it. Because the only way they weren't able to do it was because of live action.
Mhm.
But they already had the rights for like video game characters
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. But then that's the reason they took them out of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, was because, oh, that's Wolverine, and we're not gonna throw them a bone, even though we could.
which was stupid, but it's the corporate
It's
overlords that didn't
petty,
want to send them
for
there, but they
sure.
own them now. So we already
That
talked about
still worries me somewhat. The whole them owning 20th Century
whole-
Fox only to shut down the entire studio,
laying
and
off
then
1,000
take all
people.
the benefits. That still sits wrong with me every time I hear about it.
but they still parade the 20th Century Fox logo in a bunch of the movies, like Free Guy, the one
yeah,
that came
but I
out.
don't think it's what's the word? It's like a puppet system, you
Mhm.
know. It's not actually 20th Century Fox. They're just going to throw that out there for the name, and to say that it's not actually, this is Disney, this is Marvel, and I mean it's an empire and everything but name, really.
Literally. So,
So anyway, to get back on subject,
yeah,
excited for Midnight Suns.
can't wait to see more. I definitely am on that. Definitely can't wait to see more. Halo Infinite, Paul, the game that was conspicuously absent from in Xbox Showcase, that didn't have a freaking release date. So
That's right.
earlier this day, we got the leak thanks to the Xbox store that it was coming on December 8th. And today, Geoff Keighley also made it official with Joe Staten, the current director of the game. Do you guys hear that?
No.
Okay, thank thank God, because I'm always worried that there's many noises in my house, weird noises that are gonna get caught on my mic. So yeah, Halo Infinite, December 8th, 2021. This is basically Cyberpunk 2077 territory. We gotta get it in. We gotta get this game out of this year as late as humanly possible, but it's coming out this year. And it's because this is Halo's 20th anniversary. Halo 1 came out in November
You can't
15th.
miss that 20th
2001, yeah.
anniversary.
And they technically did, but they didn't, because on November 15th, 2021, there's this very sick looking Xbox Series X. You saw that one, right, Zach?
Yeah,
The gold one, and
yeah, the gold black.
yeah, it's
Better looking controller than the Halo controller.
I saw a lot of people online were like, oh yeah, this these Elite controller looks cool. I'm like, no, it looks kind of ugly. The one that looks nice is the one from with the console.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people can buy the console on the anniversary and wait a month to play the game that they're gonna buy it for. Nuts. Number 5,
Yep.
Cult of the Lamb.
I watched that trailer after you sent the message to me. That was a journey. I don't
Oh,
know
man,
if
I
I'm
was
even
like-
in the right position to talk about it, but
I was like, oh, this is cute. Oh wait, is that a pentagram? What the heck is this? That was basically it. And he just kept going. I was like, this is horrible.
it is very Binding of Isaac. Let's use religious symbolism and imagery to really do something wacky. which I respect them for that, and I respect how good it looks, because it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, they're cute, are very cute art style. Also very Devolver.
Yeah, very much. But also, I mean, I just don't like cults.
No. And that one went down the deep end. Zach,
Yeah.
you just saw an entire thing, right?
Yeah.
And also you thought it was named different, right?
Yeah, I thought it was named Cold of the Lamp. And I was waiting for a lamp.
That would have been even funnier.
Yes. So no, I was like, I think this was my Stranger of Paradise moment, like one of the shows, because I didn't hate that trailer, like that Stranger of Paradise trailer, like you did, Paul. I found it amusing, but this was one I was like, man, I hate everything about this, every single thing. And it just kept going and going.
It was weird. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's strange, and it's gonna have its weird cult following.
Oh.
But I don't see it being like a huge breakout hit outside of people seeing the art style and thinking, "Oh, I could do that too with another indie game," and then doing that.
Yeah, it's
The next one
Devolver.
I'm kinda
Yeah,
cool-
yeah.
excited
The
about.
Devolver is like just the king of having all the tiny little games that have all their cult followings, like you were mentioning. So it's just one more of those. So yeah, I wish its subject matter was different because I really like the art style. Midnight Fight Express, I was kind of typing up some stuff, but what do you think of this one? It was
I
like that
really like
isometric fighting game.
concepts, because like I mentioned, I don't know if I've actually gone into this side of my life, but I did martial arts for 7 years.
Me too. I did
Um,
Kempo.
Nice.
Yeah.
I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Hanmudo, and so I love like the intricate details of fight scenes, and whether it's animation or in a game, whenever you get really detailed like this, that's why Absolver hit so good with me for a little while, even though I didn't play it as much as I should have. I just love those really nitty gritty, like throw elbows and actual moves that were clearly animated by somebody doing those moves. So this is like a blend of that plus my Hotline Miami. There we go. Where I hope it's like a full-on storyline, but it almost looks like kind of a make your own fight situation, and like there's an environment, just beat everybody up, but it just looks clean. They didn't bother with like lifelike graphics. Don't worry about that. Get the lighting right and get the animations right and
get
go
the
to
art style
town.
right.
And clearly that's a good and up and coming style. If you look between this, Sifu, and
I think those
the
two.
Replaced.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
the whatchamacallit,
that one's a
the
little different.
cyberpunkian
Yeah,
one from the
but
Microsoft thing.
you get that really specific style. You get that really good lighting, and then you just make something kind of cool rather than realistic. And I think that is more exciting to me and interesting to me than like a really good looking realistic engine or something nowadays. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. I just love the idea that you can like go on different pieces of environment with different weaponry. Sleeping Dogs, that was the other game that I was thinking of. I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's old.
no,
We're
yeah,
talking
that's
about
old, but
recent.
it just in my head I was thinking of something like, what does this remind me of? And that's what it is. It's like you've got your move set, and it's very specifically martial arts themed around fighting multiple enemies, and I'm very excited for it. The other one though, are we doing this both at the same time, or are we
Yeah,
kinda...
TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Did you guys back in the day used to play the arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Do you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
even went to arcades? Yeah, I thought those games were really fun, and it reminds me of that. And
Yeah.
they confirmed that you can play as April O'Neil. So I think that's the first time in one of these games that you have an extra character other than Donatello, Leonardo,
I thought
Michelangelo.
she was a playable character in the old one, but I could be just crazy.
She was always like in the background.
I feel like
Okay,
at the
that's
very
what
least Casey would also be a playable character before.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think this is the
but
first time April is in. So I would be shocked if they don't put Casey in also. So 2022, both of these games.
I'm excited for it. I used to play a little bit of it at Chuck E. Cheese back in the day,
Mhm.
but it was also like I wasn't as big of a fan of TMNT until like kind of the mid
cartoon,
2000s from
the
the
cartoon
cartoon
from
from that
Fox Kids.
era.
Yeah, from Fox Kids
But
Jetix.
that one was weird because they were like going in to space and stuff. And I was like, what is going on?
Okay,
I missed
do you
out
do you
something.
ever played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus game from like PlayStation 2
I
and
did.
Xbox? Because
I
that's what
got
they
stuck on that game one. Oh shoot, that brought back a whole stage of my life.
uh,
Golly. So yeah, needless to say, I'm excited for it. It's not like my specific niche, but I know this is gonna scratch that itch for a lot of
I
people.
mean, we got the Scott Pilgrim game, and it's kind of the same style of
Yeah.
games. I think we're since we're in that era where we're bringing back a lot of that old art style of 1990s beat them up, scroll ups, and all of that. I think this is the time to bring a TMNT game, especially because the more 3D ones, recent ones, have been
Oh yeah.
horrible, like
With
the
from the
Platinum
art
Games one.
style and the smoothness of it. I mean, we've got your Streets of Rage 4, you've got your Roller City Girls, I think was what it was called. And your Scott Pilgrim coming back. That this is the perfect time for another beat 'em up game.
Yeah, especially in the world of live service literature that we live, we need everything that's not that. Uh,
Really though.
Zach, how much did you pop at Persona showing up at Super Monkey Ball 20th Anniversary Edition?
I am baffled
Morgana, right?
how popular Persona is and just getting put in everything now.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I really want to play Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah. Did you finish Royal? The
Yeah, I
Persona 5
finished
Royal?
it.
Yeah, because I know uh, one of your old roommates told me a story of you playing the original a lot during college at
Oh yeah,
night.
probably too
So
much.
yeah, so that's what I thought. Oh yeah, that just I wonder if PJ is awake if he saw that, because I know obviously he also pops for Persona and he's big on
Yeah.
Monkey Ball. So
Mhm.
and have you
If
guys played Splitgate?
No.
I know I want to, but I know you were saying that you've been really vibing with it today.
I
Or
tried it earlier this week. I was on a whim. I was like, yeah, I have this downloaded. It was short, and it really. I'm not a PvP guy, and that's a really fun Halo style shooter that mixes with Portal, and it's gotten really big. They now they're doing their first season. It was announced today and available right now. So if you're interested, Splitgate is free to play. Fun shooter.
Yeah, it looks a lot of fun, like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like no, like I like for real. Try it. This is like I was shocked. I'm not that kind of player, not anymore. And I was like popping up at the top of the of the scoreboards all the time. I was like,
Hmm.
it just feels right. I think it popped up a lot this game because we had the Halo Infinite tech test and everyone was so hungry. Then they saw
Yeah.
anything that looked just like that and it hit. And they're like, let's go to Split again. Now that game's huge.
Well, it's
So,
such an easy game to sell to somebody when you say, okay, well, think about Halo and then
and
throw
Portal,
portals in.
just
And
like
so
that.
you're just like, oh, okay, I get it. I know exactly how that looks. And I remember back when it was like announced, and it was before I really did anything on PC. So I was like, that sounds cool. I hope it comes to console one day.
Yeah, that was announced in
And here we are.
2019.
Yeah.
It's been cooking for a while. So, but kind of like Among Us was cooking in 2018 before it got big in 2020. So
Right.
I'm glad to know that people can be cooking on stuff on something that then can blow up later. It doesn't have to be about becoming big immediately. I mean, look at Fortnite.
Oh,
Rare, but I'm glad it happens.
yeah.
Yes.
Is Splitgate like actually part of the Portal game series
I
in any
don't
way?
think so.
Not at all. It's just
They
taking the
just use the
mechanics. Yeah.
concept.
It's
Take mechanics and the Portal colors.
yes,
Yeah.
it's and the Halo red versus blue style, like aesthetic almost. It's getting close to class action lawsuit territory for me. When I saw it, I was like,
Not actionable, but it is suspicious.
yes. So Riders Republic, that like bike battle royale game that Ubisoft is releasing, like it was supposed to release close to literally next week, and then it got pushed to October. They had a closed beta, and today they announced that the beta is going public. Are you guys gonna try it?
Mm,
If I remember to download it,
Download it
I'll
now.
be willing to try it because like the concept is cool. Cause what was it? Forza has their battle royale mode as well. I like the idea of okay, well you got the battle royale concept, but the whole idea is traversal. Like get there as fast as you can. Like imagine if they one day did that for like Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
A multiverse Spider-Man battle royale where
That would
you
work.
have to race to the center through the city or something. That
Nick Cage Spider-Man versus
it just
Spider Pig
works.
and the wife with Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited for
yes.
this because the Fall Guys, which was mentioned later, this is that's exactly what Fall Guys did, was take the
Yeah.
battle royale concept and put it in like a Mario Party style mini game collection, and it worked, and it was fresh. It was not about being the last one to kill everyone, and I feel that especially for Ubisoft that has become very homogenous, the more I see of writers, they probably at least want to try this out. Good thing it went open because I think you needed to pre-order to get in. So, and it's gonna be open until the 28th, which is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So
I will give Ubisoft enough credit on this one because even though a lot of their stuff has still been very similar, at least like you have your Riders Republic coming out,
your
you've
For
got
Honors,
whatever, yeah, your For Honor, which I don't know
Siege.
how that survived that era, but I'm so glad it worked because it's so different from anything else really that I could say I've played. And it's gorgeous. It runs awesome. And then you have your Star Wars one that we still don't really know much about yet.
Yeah, so Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was originally revealed at E3 2019 at the Microsoft showcase. It was supposed to come out later that year. Then it was supposed to come out in 2020. Then at Keighley's thing was announced for spring 2021. Spring 21 came and went. And now Keighley showed it again for spring 2022. How in the world is this Lego game taking so long? But to be fair, does it look awesome? I think it looks really cool. It's like an open world Lego game in the Star Wars universe. You see like the map that you can like pick the different planets and all that.
Go to different things outside of the realm of like that movie because you saw was it Luke from Episode 6 going to Tatooine, hanging out over there, riding banthas and stuff. So it's like they're clearly jumping around and having fun with this. They had to make the whole thing from scratch. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm just glad that I'm gonna have a game that's gonna let me play Yoda versus Palpatine from Episode 3 that no one has given us somehow.
Yeah.
Is that not in the 3 game?
No. Yeah.
Well,
that's the one
Anakin
section.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, there's always Anakin versus Obi-Wan, but not the Yoda versus Palpatine at the Senate. So, and also a game that's gonna let us play the throne room from The Last Jedi. The one scene that everyone can agree is awesome. Unless you see the choreography.
Yes, it's awesome until you pay attention to what everyone's doing.
Yes.
Then it gets really weird. But I'm really excited for that. But like I told you in the message app,
You're gonna forget about it until it comes out.
Forget about it the second we finish with this, and then I'm gonna forget that it ever existed, and then somebody's gonna say, "Oh yeah, that Skywalker Saga game is coming out next week." And
Sometimes I forget it's a thing until someone
yeah.
mentions it. So I want to blast through this too real quick. Sync Off Planet. I think we barely saw anything of that thing. I think it's the thing you said was like a knack lookalike.
Because it was just because of the nano machines kind of making a little buddy to run around with you. I was like, oh, look at the new knack games looking crazy.
Yeah. And then a new Outlast game that's going to be completely different from Outlast. By the way, Outlast is one of the only horror games that I have never beaten because they're so darn horrifying. Have you played that, Zach?
I played the second one.
Okay, it was on PS Plus recently, right? I think I have it, and I never downloaded it.
I think I have both because of the PlayStation Plus.
My only memory of the first Outlast is that because my brother, he was the first one to buy a PS4 because I was in college. It took a few months until I got my own. He had PS Plus and he played Outlast. And he kept sending me videos how he couldn't play it. He was too terrified. And he sent me a video of he telling my sister and one of her friends, "Come play this." It's a section where you see someone in a wheelchair. And then you walk, and then the thing immediately jumps at you. So you send me the video and the screams.
Anytime I see a wheelchair in horror, I just think of that scare. I'm like, oh, that thing's gonna jump at me, isn't it?
Yeah. That basically started the trend now. So
Bioshock Infinite with the wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I need you guys' thoughts on Doki V.
Oh no.
Zach,
Yeah.
this is for you.
I hate that art style. It's so creepily uncanny. I don't know if you remember like late 2000s, early 2010s YouTube, there were all these like
Oh yeah.
settling YouTube videos of people in like mascot costumes and weird art styles. That's
The
exactly what
the furry era of YouTube, or the post machinima explosion of YouTube.
that's exactly the vibe I get from this game, except for they're playing it just like a normal game, and that makes it worse for me.
Yeah. Who of the
But
two of you was the one that said that this feels like something pedophiles would
that was
really?
Paul.
That was Paul, right?
That it just it had that weird atmosphere that was like somebody made this that has a very strange attachment to children. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to make that like crazy jump of assumption because like it could have been made with perfectly normal thoughts, but there's just something about it, the way the characters look, the way they move, that is like this doesn't feel right. It's either made by somebody who's got a weird thing going on or for somebody who's got
Now,
something
now,
weird
do you
going
feel
on.
that same vibe with the amusement park game Park Beyond that they announced like a few moments later?
Maybe not that specifically, but there was something else going on weird. Like I said that it felt like it was made by an ad company for a mobile game
Mm-hmm.
where they've got like that weird, almost like horny vibe going on with
Yeah.
with the way the characters moved. I was like, what is going on here? This isn't right. And that may be just like a huge oversimplification, but there's little things that you can do in animation when you have a certain personality or style that you're going for, and both of those games had something
And
going
I
on.
just realized this is cool because both of you guys are artists. Like you really
Yes.
see about think about art. Like
Yeah.
like so you would think about that. Also, wasn't it funny that one of the things that unsettled you the most was one of the longest trailers?
No,
No,
Doki
that song just kept going.
And I thought it was like a Pokemon because you mentioned that there was like about capturing stuff, right? It's basically Pokemon, right? I think
I
that's how
mean,
it teased it, but they
I
didn't
can't
show
say what
anything
that
of
game
that.
was. You do so many different things in that. You swing from webs, you fly,
Yeah,
you ride
you're
a car.
surfing.
Bounce on your little ball that turns into a weapon, and then you have your hammers, and then you hang out with people, and then everyone's a child that looks like they're 4.
Yes. And then some quick things that they showed that we've seen many times already through the years, like Jurassic World Evolution 2. Did you guys play that first one?
I
No,
didn't.
I heard it's
Um,
not very good, so I'm shocked that they're doing
it's
another one, but
I
I
have a
bet
very
they're
specific experience with like that type of Jurassic Park game though, because I played Operation Genesis on the PC,
mm,
and
it's kind of like this,
I
right?
yeah, so I ended up I had borrowed that from my cousin right before Hurricane Katrina when I got trapped out in Lafayette, which is like 2 or 3 hours away from where my house
Dang.
is, and
Katrina
that
was
was the
16
only
years
game I
ago.
had for a while. I know, right?
God damn it.
Um, so I only had that one game while my parents were working. I would just play that for hours, and I loved that game so much. So Evolution was coming out, and I was like, that looks really cool. I want to try it out. And then I just never bought it because I realized there was a part of me that was like kind of had all of that ruined because of all of the experiences I had. But if this has enough depth to it, I could see myself getting it if it justifies the price.
I want to hear
Um,
reactions to it because, like I mentioned, that first one had a lot of negative reactions, but it was very popular also. So
yeah.
Far Cry 6, I'm still getting more and more pumped for that one. Every time that they show it, my tone has increased. What do you think of did you see the recent trailer? Do you saw not?
I missed almost all of that one because I was trying to work on something. I had it playing in the background, but I wasn't watching. So I actually missed all of what they showed.
Yeah, it more Giancarlo. Giancarlo like just elevates that thing. Zach, are you big on Far Cry? Are you interested in Far Cry?
this is going to be the first Far Cry game I play, just because I was so excited when they showed that DLC with the villains and the
Oh
dream.
yes. Yeah, that's
Oh
coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
how does
Yeah.
that work?
It's a
Because
season pass. It's gonna be the season pass DLC that is always a weird thing that's completely separate from the game.
right, but
So
what do you actually do in it? Because you're playing as the villain,
As a
you're
ghost
as
villain.
all of them.
yeah, boss, pagan man, and Joseph and Joseph Seed.
Or
from
they all
3,
just
4,
show
and
up and
5.
hang out or something?
I think
Or
you're playing in from their perspective.
is
That was
it
from
like different environments and
Mhm.
different missions? Okay, so it's not just like all of them are in this room and then you pick from them. It's like,
No, it's
okay,
the
well, this
DLC
one,
for each one. That's what they said
okay.
back at E3. So that would be awesome for you, Zach, because Far Cry has usually been very similar gameplay wise. I think you're the first Far Cry experience you have is the best Far Cry experience you can have, unless they really change. So I think you're gonna have a really good time with that one, especially having Giancarlo Esposito, that he just can make even the biggest turd seem like high art for some reason.
Assuming they stop getting so preachy,
Mhm.
I will probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Zach, this one I remember when it was showed at, I think it was at the Summer Game Fest,
Yeah.
because you had made a pitch just randomly at our chat about a vampire game, and
Yeah, like
then
a month or
this,
two before.
and then literally this shows, and you were like, "God damn it, this is exactly what it said." Vampire Blood Hunts. They show more gameplay, and apparently that game has been in alpha. And now he's going into early access on Steam on September 7th. That's coming out soon. I wonder if how expensive it is, because I thought it looked really cool. The idea.
It did, but I still don't really understand how it works because it was like a third person. Um, you're in like the city and you're fighting and traversing the city, but what kind of game is it? It's like a multiplayer game, right?
Yes, Day by Daylight. I think it's in like in that kind of game. I think it's
So it's like there's some people playing the villains.
vampires. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, the next
It
week's coming
has
up,
a
so
decent level of style where I wasn't a huge fan of Dead by Daylight. I couldn't get into that gameplay loop because it feels like it merges two things that give me horrible anxiety. One is horror games with no ability to fight back, and two is multiplayers
Use
of
other
any type.
people.
But the fact that I'm like working alongside people that I'm like, oh gosh, I got to do things right. Plus, I know somebody's hunting me and I have no ability to fight back against that. I'm like, this is somebody curated a specific video game that just hits all of the areas of stress in my life.
that would be a fun stream to watch you play that. Literally, it's
All they got to do is make somebody who asks me to sign up for an insurance policy and they've got me. Like, that's it.
yeah, it's like I'm hoping it's popular enough, because obviously when something hits on Steam, that's how they gauge if they want to move it to console. So I think
Yeah.
that'd be something cool we could have on console. So Yet the Far Shore, Paul. This is one of those games that last time we talked about was at the PlayStation State of Play from July, the indie third party one.
Yeah.
It didn't have, it only had fall 2021 date, and this one solidified to October 5th, 2021. To me, still looks like No Man's Sky, but even more indie, which is funny because No Man's Sky was made by an indie dev. So this is like sub indie almost.
Well, I guess No Man's Sky was an indie dev until they did all of their really good PR or really bad PR, depending on how you look
When
at
Sony
it.
got involved, when Sony really got involved, they blew up what that game should have been.
Man, you just anyway. There's too much to talk about with that one. Jet the Far Short, it has like a style and a heart to it, but I don't know if it's something that I'm as interested in because I don't know. I love the way it looks, but it also feels really drab. You know, we just recently talked about the
Art
idea
style.
of everything has to be gray or brown, and I understand the idea of art direction, but I feel like for me, you have to complement the drab art style with something else to keep your eye,
You know what the
or
art
like to
style
draw your eye
reminds
to
me
choose
of?
something.
So you know what the art style reminds me of?
What's that?
When you're in your satellite in Nier Automata. Think
Yes.
about, yeah, that
Yeah.
drive kind of like
But see,
look.
that's exactly it because they contrasted that drab with the world, which was vibrant and colorful. And unless they're hiding something for us to find out about that world's, it just I don't know if I want to sit there staring at it while a tiny dot that signifies my ship goes across this very large area.
The soundtrack still has that what's the Christopher Nolan movie, Interstellar? Kind of Hans Zimmer like
Wow.
wow things. Yeah, it's like one of those that I want to hear more of. That's definitely one of the few things Sony even has for this year. So just think
Zach,
about that.
I know we've been moving quickly, but has there been anything else that you wanted to add to
Mhm.
anything that we've been talking about?
No, I didn't really pay much attention to this one.
Okay.
This one's important for me. Guerrilla Games. This was important. Paul, Sony's not gonna have a showcase. They absolutely are not gonna have a showcase. Most of the things that they've
I
been
don't know what
talking about.
Sony's doing. The fact
Yeah.
that they allowed this to happen,
Yeah.
and we're like, we can't be bothered with telling our consumers what we're actually doing.
Yeah,
You can go ahead and do
because
that.
like for example, Call of Duty is aligned with PlayStation. They usually do reveal. They did the gameplay reveal last year for Cold War. It showed up here. So it's like if it's showing up here, then it means Sony's not doing anything. Now Guerrilla Games, they gave a dev update for Horizon Forbidden West, which was my most anticipated game of the year until we got the news last 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. I don't even know. Time is flying too damn quick right now. That it was going to be delayed, but it wasn't official. It was the Jason Schreiers, the Jeff Grubbs, the official sourcing saying that it was going to be delayed. And finally, Jeff Keighley gave the director of the game stage, or at least virtual stage time, to announce the official delay to February 18, 2022, which funny enough is 9 days short of the 5-year anniversary of the first game.
You'd
That's
almost
funny.
think they would just go ahead and go for the 5-year anniversary.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe they could, because they could still slip. Be like, we need that one more week. So,
hang on, guys. We just gotta be very poetic real quick.
but they did what I said that time they could do. 60 frames patch.
Oh yes.
Remember, they were like, yeah, they might do
So
it.
I missed that part. Is that what they said about like the original game is going to get the 60 then?
Yeah, and it's already
free?
patched. It's free. It's already patched. I already tried it a little bit just to see, and it's hella smooth. You're gonna be hitting headshots now, no problem.
God.
Yeah.
Which I also realized one reason that I wasn't back the last time I played was because my TV wasn't set to 120 hertz mode. So there's the same thing that happens to me in Destiny. If ever I'm not paying attention and we've watched the TV for like actual TV,
Mhm.
it changes that mode back so that if I play a game, it's going to have this like fraction of a second delay and it jacks me up with games
So
like
like game
Rocket
mode,
League or
like
yeah,
having to put something in
basically.
game mode. Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
can
I'm
change
very sensitive. I'm super sensitive to game mode. Like my TV in our living room always has to be in game mode. Like
it
me and my
depends
brother,
on what it is because
me and
like
my
some
bro-
games. Oh yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, me and my brother have gotten so picky about like response time. My brother plays a lot of Warzone, and he literally has modded our computer to like overclock the USB when he plugs in his PS4 controller. So when he's playing Warzone, he
Good
has as
lord.
little as little latency as possible. It's like nuts. So
Gosh.
if something has delayed, I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel good, and he feels like that. Zach, you have
yeah.
you're one of the ones that don't like the original Horizon, right?
Wow.
Get him, Zach. Get him.
So part of the reason I don't like Horizon, of
Mhm.
course, is I'm tired of the what's the word?
The white savior thing.
The cultural appropriation of
Mhm.
native
Did
culture.
we even touch on that in the podcast itself, or was that up through message? Ooh,
I don't-
okay, Zach, preach for us.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sick and tired
Mhm.
of video games and sci-fi settings for some reason trying to flip the narrative of science fiction to be this weird tribalism, Native American ripoff stuff.
Mhm.
It just grinds my gear because not only is it this weird alien thing with Avatar where they're all Native Americans, but alien.
It's basically Pocahontas. The Avatar movie is basically Pocahontas. Sci-fi.
Yeah. But it's always also, like you said, the white savior. With Avatar, you get Jake Sully, I think his name is.
Mhm. Yeah, Sam Worthington.
He literally becomes a blue guy. He does blue face. It's okay, I guess, because it's not his skin color. And then for Horizon, it's just a white girl.
Mhm. To be fair, because you didn't finish that game, right?
No, that
Yeah. The thing I appreciate about that, because they're obviously she's being put in as like this chosen one thing. The great thing about the story, she rejects that. She's like, screw that. I'm not that. You mistreated me forever now because I'm I'm supposed to be your savior. Now you're looking up to me. No, I'm going on my own. I'm not supposed to be. I'm just someone. I'm just like everyone. he makes a point of saying that she does what she is doesn't make her any special compared to everyone else. Which, if you see that they have basically all colored people in Horizon. It's like everyone's in that aesthetic. It's not just one race. So
Yeah. But
because I pushed back. The only thing I pushed back, it was when we did the podcast, Paul. It was because you said it was caveman. I was like, this isn't caveman. This is more
Okay.
native. This is more Native American. That makes sense. Like why
And then
Zach
it
would
clicked
have more.
for
Yeah.
me, but I'll agree with the aesthetic is less caveman and more of that Native American aspect. But
Mhm.
I think we established that I wasn't a huge fan of using the Native American culture as like a token, like, oh, look at this cool aesthetic we got going on.
Mhm.
It's like, the more I think about it, that's actually really sketchy to reach into that zone. And I know, like Alejandro, you said, like she rejects the idea of being a chosen one, but
Mhm.
that's there's the micro level where in the plot they establish that, and you're like, oh, that's great. She's rejecting this idea. But then if she still ends up as a chosen one throughout the method of the story, whether or not she accepts or rejects it, that's still saying that she is going to be a chosen one. And I think it still actually perpetuates some of those problems.
What I love about the ending is, especially if you do a bunch of the side quests, it perpetuates that the only reason why they basically save the main cities is because everyone that she got in contact with, and they're black, they're in different kind of people. They're the reason. It's not just her. They're the reason why it's saved. So it's like she never wants to like take the full responsibility of everything.
Mm,
She's always constantly being like trying to reject it because she doesn't feel
yeah.
comfortable like that, especially because she's always been an outcast. Like
I
from
don't
the
know. I might
beginning.
not
Yeah.
be the right person to speak on it, honestly. So I will concede the point.
Yeah, but Zach
Um,
has a valid point because at least in general sense, he has to live, has had to, as someone that's Native American himself, like from an American Native American descent, he has a point. I still love that game. I'm gonna replay it now that it's 60 frames because that's what I was waiting. And apparently the PS5 was not running Horizon well. There was like some weird glitching going with some streaming. Apparently they fixed that. I read a tweet. So more of a reason for you, Paul, to finish it. Finally, you're so close to the end. So New World, the Amazon MMO that if you had a GTX 3090 graphic card, it was killing your graphic card if you were on beta earlier this summer. They officially announced the September 28, 2021 release date. Important because this will be Amazon's first game that actually releases. Because do you guys remember here a game named Crucible?
vaguely.
Yeah, that was a game that Amazon released so bad that they had to like revert it to beta access and then cancel it.
Jeez.
Yes, that was like early in 2020. So Amazon, one of the richest companies in the world, don't know how to make a video game.
They don't know how to do a lot of things actually,
Oh, yeah.
but
But they're good with
that's
Amazon
another
Prime.
that's a talk for another
They're good
day.
with Amazon Studios. The TV shows
Right.
that they make are cool. Look at The Boys.
I'll give them that much.
Marvel Future Revolution. This was an insult. Why is an open world Marvel game a mobile game? Oh man, like there's no, yeah,
Alejandro?
yeah, I got blue balls.
I have to give them credit where it's due. Mobile gaming is, I mean, we've talked to those industry professionals that like if you break down the stigma of it, it is like one of the most, if not the most profitable area for gaming right now, because you reach a whole different group of people that aren't just gamers and have this specific piece of tech, but everybody has a phone of one of these types, and that's way more people that are willing to
Yeah.
dabble
I
into it.
I would agree, but the problem with mobile gaming, especially the way they release these mobile games, is because all the ones that are actually survive on mobile are the ones that are free. Rarely you will see a mobile game that you actually have to pay upfront, like buying the game for it to succeed.
It is interesting that's not a thing.
It's because the bottom fell out of the of mobile games because the most successful ones were free to play, the ones that nickel and dime you as much as humanly possible. And
Yeah.
this is a free to play open world mobile game that I'm like, that sucks because from open world Marvel games, we only have Spider-Man. Obviously, that's good. But this is like the Future Revolution. It had all the characters. If you saw the trailers, it's like, even though you see the main character that was running there is Spider-Man, because of course, I mean, he's big. Look how big the trailer for No Way Home was this week that already broke Avengers records, Endgame records for the trailer. So
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know
the-
that.
If a movie can break the billion at the box office again in the middle of a pandemic, it could possibly be that one. But yeah, going back to that, it's like, man, that sounds really cool, especially because the Avengers game, the actual console Avengers game, is not an open world. That's like segmented.
Mhm.
So, and I wish there were more than just Spider-Man. Obviously, Spider-Man is Spider-Man. Man.
Yeah, I want more Marvel games.
Yeah.
DC games, but Marvel games really feel like they'd embrace. Like Marvel characters are so colorful and vibrant. I'd love to see them bring more color and vibrancy to video games.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, even like I wasn't a huge fan of it. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch had that kind of vibrancy that you mentioned about comic book games. And also in the DC realm, obviously we had the Batman Arkham games. You're a huge fan of those, Zach.
Yeah.
We had Injustice, but if you see, it's just the dark and grimy version of DC games, and then we haven't had any in
No,
forever now.
we're
Obviously,
getting
we were
two and they're both dark and grimy again.
yes, and obviously we were
Awesome.
supposed to get Gotham Knights this year, and it got pushed.
Yep.
And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was supposed to be next year. I can't see both those games releasing the same year.
Another dark and grimy game, by the way.
Well,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, it's different. It's actually light, but it's
But
dark. Like, it's like
The implications are very dark because that once again means, oh, herder, what if Superman was evil? Oh, like I am so tired of hearing that.
you know,
whole
there
thing.
was a rumor that the guys that are making Gotham Knights, they were working on a Superman game, and they
Apparently
canceled
it
it.
was canceled.
Yeah.
And apparently they're doing it again. Apparently
Are
they're ready.
they?
Yeah.
They're working on it again, or
Yeah, it's
another
like
game?
it's like apparently they're doing a Superman. Apparently they already got pre-production going and into another Superman game because Gotham Knights is done. They're just polishing it now.
I would, if that's the case, then absolutely, because like I don't understand how a good Superman game isn't there. I know you could, even me who doesn't have the most knowledge but just likes the concept of Superman.
Mhm.
I know I could make a game for Superman.
You know
and
what would have been a
that
really
means I
cool
know
way?
it could be done.
You know what would have been a really cool way to do a Superman game?
Or so.
Telltale style.
I mean, they did it with Batman. I would take it.
Yeah, by
even though I
the way,
would-
Zach, what do you play Telltale Batman?
Yeah, I did.
I thought that was really cool. Like all the twists and like how they twisted the story.
I think it works better for Batman though because of the whole detective nature of it and
Yeah.
the way that lends to point and click.
Maybe a reporter Clark Kent video game in
No,
Telltale.
exactly. Yeah, because
There
you
it
can
is.
do the reporter Clark Kent, and then you have your Superman moments, and because everything is like scripted and decision, you don't have to worry about having health or anything. So
That's
that
the
would've-
crazy thing.
that would have been cool.
Like they downplay the idea of Superman's intelligence and fighting ability all the time. They're just like, oh, he's just strong, but he doesn't know how to fight. I'm like, do y'all not read?
Yeah.
And do y'all not know that he's like an investigative journalist and he's good at his job? Like, I could talk about that, but this isn't a Superman podcast. So anyway,
Yeah. By the way, watch Superman and Lois on HBO Max. That's
Yep.
good Superman.
yes, and read the new Son of Kal-El run.
Yeah.
Which is
Superman
awesome
Sin
so
Kal-El
far.
by Tom Taylor.
Oh
That's
man,
the one.
freaking Tom Taylor. He's killing. I'm excited for the Tom Taylor, that medieval DC thing.
Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah. Oh man, that looks really
Steel.
cool. So this is not a comic book thing, but we
Yeah.
love comic. We love superheroes here. Final things that Keighley showed. So Tales of Luminara, a new game in the Tales series that Paul kind of made Blip mention that he thought it was a hot take that the Tales games are Final Fantasy but less popular. No, that's exactly what Tales is. Tales has
Yeah.
been long running, it has its fans, but it's not as big as Final Fantasy. So Tales of Arise is actually one that's coming up in a few weeks, and there's a demo right now that you can play. It's actually pretty fun, I would say, if you're interested to dabble.
I don't know
in.
how you find the time to like play all these demos that are like, oh, it's
They're
available
short.
now, and
They're
you're
short,
like,
and I
"Yeah,
have a lot of
already
time at
did
night.
that."
So it's when I'm not playing Destiny, Paul. That's when I find the time.
That's when I'm like, golly, I feel like I
Yes.
barely have enough time to like catch up with Destiny,
Yeah.
much less play anything else.
Fall Guys season 5. So Fall Guys was big. Fall Guys became the thing last year around this time.
Yep.
They were just at Keighley's opening night live last year. He was announced, I think it was either season 1 or season 2. So now we're in season 5, and it's a Disney crossover with Jungle Book.
I
Yeah.
saw. Was it just Jungle Book that it's?
That's what I saw. I kind of like started writing,
Okay.
and did
Because it
you
was
see that?
only like Baloo, Bagheera, Shere
Baloo.
Khan.
Was there more Sack, or was it just
It
Jungle
looked like
Book?
Jungle Book, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
then I replaced the very cool looking game from the Xbox E3 that it was the cyberpunkian side scroller. Showed like a trailer for the game's music for a game that we've only seen like 10 seconds.
Yep.
And they didn't even really play that much of the music, so they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, check out the music that's available now that was in this trailer." I was like, "It was like a 10-second trailer, guys,
Yeah,
with
this
hardly any
no,
music."
no, this feels to me like Keighley, he had all these games, and he had a 2 hour window, and then he was getting
That's
close to the end.
true.
He was like, "Oh crap, we gotta try to shorten up everything they're doing because we have a big Death Stranding gameplay near the end."
Which we gotta.
Yeah, we
touch
gotta
on
talk
that
about
later.
that. Paul, Age of Empires 4, a game where we were expecting gameplay yesterday, and instead we had a 5 minute presentation about how a trebuchet works. I am
The more I think about it, the funnier it gets because we had this whole thing going on. They were talking about it for a solid like 20 minutes
a freaking
with like
trebuchet.
it just if they could have played like some gameplay in the background on the giant projector screen while they were talking to this person, I'd have been fine with it. But then instead we got this 5 to 10 minute explanation of how a trebuchet works,
You should watch that,
how
Zach. You
all
should
this
look it
stuff.
up. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
y'all go watch that Xbox showcase thing. I don't remember where it was, but please do
Halfway
yourselves a
through.
favor.
Halfway through, I was like,
Um,
we're 30
my
minutes into this
gosh.
thing, and we had our explanation about trebuchet.
So yeah, at least we got some actual gameplay. I know what Age of Empires 4 looks like now again. Um, I'm excited to see this more because it was really cool to look at. And I mean, like, you've got your Total War, which has a lot more of like that density and
Mhm.
size of the actual armies and stuff. Age of Empires has that mix between Total War and Civilization, where it's like Civilization is not really combat at all. You just got like that one person representing an army versus the Total War, everybody out there. It's kind of like in that middle ground where it's like, okay, well, it's not like the huge armies that you would normally see, but it's got like the idea of it. And I like the environments a lot. I love the vibrancy of the colors. It's fun, and a lot of people loved it back in the day. So I'm glad it's making a comeback.
This is
Any
glad
other
because Age of Empires 3 has been that close to 2 decades since we last got that. So, and the developer went under. So this is new people doing Age of Empires. Do you ever play any of those kind of strategy games, Hack? Like Age of Empires, Mythologies, RTSs in general?
Did play Age of Mythology for a little bit.
Age of Mythology was really cool.
Yeah.
Like it was super cool, especially building a boat and then suddenly having the Kraken show up, and it's very in the script version of the Kraken show up and destroy your boat. I'll never forget that. Um, Valheim, that was a big game that was super popular with streamers. It was kind of like Fortnite meets God of War in a way, like because it was in it was Norse mythology and you could like build stuff and a bunch of stuff. They announced more content for that game, and I think that game has been in early access. And I don't know if he said that this was them coming out of early access, but the thing that's coming in September 16th is going to basically be more Valheim. So maybe that's the official release. Who knows? But it's coming on September 16th. Thoughts on that?
I don't.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, Paul?
I wanted to like it more. Let me explain. I love the idea, love the aesthetic. I just don't like survival games as much. I had a whole stage of time where I really forced myself to play the forest with a few of my friends, and that was it was fun at times, but it was really draining, and it kind of ruined me on survival games. And even now, like trying to play Don't Starve Together and some other things, it's the same kind of idea of like suffering and then
Yeah.
working towards not suffering as much forever until you decide to quit the game.
Yeah, you mentioned it. There's no game I wanted to like more than Don't Starve, just because of its art style. And then I realized the kind of game it was, and
It was
I couldn't
so
do it.
obtuse. It is so frustrating to understand how that game works because like I can't even kill anything in that game. I was like, am I standing in front of them? Are they behind me? Like is that this weird 2D thing going on? and I would get killed by like a bat. And I was like, I have an axe. What is going on? So yeah, that was a whole process. So Valheim, not gonna be for me, but I know some people really like it.
I want to see if it re-energizes its streaming community, because that's the ones that really made that thing bigger this year. So Genshin Impact, the waifu, Breath of the Waifu, or Waifu of the Wild
Breath of the Waifu.
yeah,
That's it.
yes. They had announced earlier on this year that Aloy was coming as like a crossover between Genshin and Horizon, because obviously this game is only on PlayStation. They showed a little bit more of Aloy. It had the same voice actress, which in turn is the same actress as Kate Bishop. So yeah, that's why I felt certain things.
Oh, so that's why.
Yeah.
Not just just for any listeners and watchers, Alejandro Sims for Arching Girls. So that's, I mean, it was adorable, and I'm glad that they're getting some more cross pollination.
Free to play game still. This is a free to play game, yeah.
I know I've watched a lot of YouTuber friends of mine, and some do it for the memes, but some like have actually wasted a lot of money because of the gacha stuff in there. And it worries me somewhat, because it's like, okay, you can play the game and you can kind of finish the game, but in order to continue,
you gotta
that's where you gotta
roll the
you gotta
gotta roll the dice.
You gotta get the good stuff, and it's not just like the characters, but it's the weapons that they play. It's like, I think you got companions or something in that game. It's messy if you really get into that rabbit hole. Like, I understand if that's just like your game, just like you and I would play Destiny. It's like some people would think, oh, that's a waste of money, but it's like, to us, that's just what we want to spend our money and time on. But that it can get really tricky, where like Destiny it'll cap out. You can't really spend any more money outside of like maybe the cosmetic things, but
and only if you want to engage on the cosmetic side of it, because you don't need to spend more money on Destiny than you need to.
Genshin Impact is very much locking supers and moves and weapons that can help you in the game behind something. Yeah, I get it. There's not like a multiplayer aspect of it, but it just, something like that always leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because of just how predatory it can be.
Oh yes. Any thoughts on Genshin, Zach?
Just that it's funny that they're getting a Breath of the Wild waifu a few months after that big controversy where people were upset that Aloy wasn't pretty enough.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I forgot about that. Because her face got puffier for some reason in some of the screenshots.
And it was like only one clip where she was like turning her head or something.
Yeah.
And then people see themselves in the mirror when they do a weird turn, their face don't look like so it seems realistic. And it's funny, like the final things of this show was PlayStation stuff. So it'd be like the Genshin Impact, that's PlayStation stuff. Sifu, we mentioned Sifu earlier in the show. That was also shown in the last PlayStation State of Play, and they announced a delay. That was just, oh yeah, we're pushing it from 2021 to 2022, and that was it. They gave the official release date. It's coming on Tuesday, Paul.
Same day as
Destiny 2: The Witch Queen. Sifu is dead for me. I'm not gonna play it when it comes out that day.
You might not, but I will absolutely get that sucker, if nothing else, to support that group, because I love the work they do.
It looks really cool. I think what they showed here looked even more impressive than in its briefness. It looked more impressive than even the thing that they showed at the State of Play, which was every time you get beaten, you age up and all of that.
I still want to understand how that works. My theory is, like, each time you die you age, but then there may be ways to reject the aging to like keep yourself flowing between an age range, I think. And it'll probably be like maybe a trade-off of power versus health or something. That would be kind of cool if they incorporate that in, but I just want to know more about this game, honestly.
I mean, look, to be fair, I was just being facetious about it being dead because of Witch Queen. It's a different kind of game. I think both can coexist. Not everyone's into the live services, so who knows? I mean, we know it's early in 2022. When it's nondescript, you think, oh yeah, it's gonna be very late there. So, and finally, do you have any thoughts on Sifu, Zach?
Just that bad guys need to stop killing the loved ones of kung fu masters.
Man, that really is the trope, right? Man, you're the
Just-
singer bringing reality.
Bad guys got to learn, man. They just got to like, all right, we're not gonna mess with him. We're just gonna do our own thing.
Yes. And finally, because this is Geoff Keighley and his best friend of all time is Hideo Kojima, he had to dedicate the last 5-7 minutes of the show to an extended gameplay demo, the gameplay for Death Stranding PS5. So no, he was not gonna announce anything about the stupid abandon, so people can just effing shut up about that game now. So because this was the last big showcase of the year. Paul, what were your thoughts about the jetpack, the cannonball, the MGS mission, the whale?
We don't talk about the whale. That was freaky. That's not my thing. That's why I don't play Subnautica.
It was great play.
Yeah. So I guess on a more actual note, I love these ideas for traversal because one of the problems that I had with it was that the game from the beginning to the end is roughly the same.
Mhm.
You get some other options, you get like your truck and things, but when it comes down to it, it really just comes down to you walking and like really trying to mountain climb something.
Which is
And
cool at first. There's
it
something really
is.
cool about like figuring that out, but over a 60-hour game.
Mm. And
It's
it really weighs on you after a while, and that's one thing that I really wish that it had. Even the grappling rope, unless you were on top of a mountain and you wanted to go down it, that was the only reason you would use that. There was no way to like throw a grappling hook up and climb. It was just like the ladders, your bridges, and your feet really. So the idea of, okay, cool, you got like this jetpack thing that lets you really get some movement. For like the motorbikes, it was not even practical to use those because of all the rocks. So the fact that you have this ramp that lets you shoot over a lot of things, what was it, a lot of different vehicles, your buddy bot
he
would
tells
just
him to
helping
have
you
faith
out.
in himself. That was
I
so
didn't
funny
even hear
hearing
that part. I was just
Norman
watching
Reedus be
it.
like, have faith in yourself. Like, you're telling that to a robot. Come
That whole thing, I'm going to touch on that in a second, but so yeah, I'm glad that they have all these traversal options. That really is going to widen things up if I decide to buy the $10 for this director's cut. I like the new missions idea because that was, once again, it was just like literal fetch quests for the entire game, which I get it. That is the game, but
There's so
at
much
least
Metal Gear now.
disguise
There's
it a little, you know.
yeah, and now
Give
there's
us a little of that Metal Gear, yeah.
yeah, now it's he's not being facetious about it. Now he's doing straight up Metal Gear stuff. The some sort of BR combat, like all the things that he had for you specifically that you're all about shooting and stuff.
See,
He had it more.
I like the idea. I feel like the virtual side of it is a bit of a cop out because
No, but you're being able to do that in game. That was just for you to like have other stuff to do. That's what you do in Metal Gear. You have the BR missions in Metal Gear. Also.
right, but I didn't, well, only in the where were the VR missions in Metal Gear? They were in the
Metal Gear Solid 2, Substance.
Yeah, the second one. And I think
And 4,
there was
there's a
one of
shooting range.
yeah, the 4. Okay. Which I like those, but I, as we established, like that's more for like the completionist and let me get this time down. Because whenever they're doing like the racing and stuff, it was just like you and a ghost of you, and I was like, that's not really what racing is about. It's like racing others and really getting into that, but it's like there's nobody around because the story doesn't allow for that. And so it's just Norman Reedus facing a ghostly Norman Reedus. And I get it, it's going to be like maybe player racing times and stuff, but that's like one of the least things I like about racing games.
By the way, it's funny seeing because they showed the ramps with the motorcycle and him doing the tricks. I feel bad for the baby in the jar that you're like turning around and he
That
still has
baby's
the baby in the
struggling. Um,
poor
it's
baby.
whenever you see a really beat up like Civic that has that baby on board and they're like weaving in and out of traffic, that's basically what we just watched. Yeah, so overall it was good. I like the inclusions of things. The weird stuff with Norman Reedus like doing things, it just we talked about that weird horny energy. That is exactly what every moment of Norman Reedus, like in the mirror and hanging out and doing random things, feels like. Because I feel like Kojima is like looking at the raw footage of this, and he's just like, yes, yes.
Here's the thing,
Drink,
like
drink the
when
energy.
he did Death Stranding, he kept it very serious for it to appear like very high art.
Mhm.
Now he's just going full Kojima. Like literally.
That between Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen, I have a very good understanding of what kind of weird sex dreams Kojima has. But credit where it's due,
Yes.
and I respect the guy for how strong of a vibe he can make out of these games. So, also the fact that all of this is only for $10. Hey, turn up.
Right? Right? Like
I'll give him credit for that.
compare it to Ghost of Tsushima, that it was the 20
Yeah.
bucks for just for the an extra island that was basically the same. It feels like he put in a lot of work for so many things that were not
Right.
in the PS4 version. So
Plus, I think it's only 10, and you already get like the PS5 upgrades, right?
mhm,
So it's like $20 less for all of that
exactly.
stuff. So hey, you
Yeah,
know
the
what?
Ghost of Tsushima thing, as much as I enjoy what they did, they kind of goofed with the pricing there compared to what Kojima's doing. Zach, you've never played a Kojima game, but you kind of appreciate his style. What do you think of what you saw?
I
With
think
the
this with the additions they added, I might actually play this because I won't just be suffering
Yeah.
through a walking simulator going up
Mhm.
all now.
Yeah, this
So
definitely feels like he had a checklist of everyone that complained about the original version and just added a bunch of stuff to like remove friction while still
Mhm.
retaining the thing. So I think you would have a really fun time with this, especially since you will never go back to Metal Gear because there's no way to go back to Metal Gear right now unless you unearth a PS3. So or play Metal Gear Solid 5, which it's not the best representation of what that series was like at its peak.
The
So
great gameplay sandbox and a terrible everything else.
exactly. So that was the opening night live.
Yeah.
That's how you
Crushed
do a
it.
conference show. Microsoft, why the hell were you there even at all when you had your big guns here?
Why
You
were
could
you
have,
even there?
yeah. I think that makes me hate that we spent an hour and 30 minutes where we literally zoned off. I put a reaction there. We are zoning off playing Destiny because we have our TVs in the side while
Yeah.
the gameplay of what you call it, Forza Horizon was playing, which again, showing
That's
more gameplay of a game that was there already. It's like nuts.
that's kind of why I wish we had like cut a lot of that out, and it would just be like an 8-minute video of all of our reactions of like
I could have done it also, but it's also funny that way. It's,
can be. I'm glad we suffered through it, but I'm also glad that we got to watch this and react to it, even if it was after the fact.
yeah, I mean, now hopefully I have to like shoot you reminders much earlier because I thought you had already reminded. I told you yesterday it was happening, and then
And I told you that every time you tell me, I forget things immediately.
that's big
Um,
dad energy already.
that is big dad energy,
All
quite
right,
literally for me.
and that will be it for our episode today. So,
Zach, thank you for
Paul,
joining us.
yeah,
That was a
thank you.
lot of
Yes,
fun.
thank you so much for joining us for the first time. Hopefully, we can have you more times, and maybe eventually you can have a webcam that we can see your face, even though you as the silhouette is so funny.
This is good for the memes, though.
Yes.
yeah, one day
Yeah.
I'll get
No,
better camera.
yes. All right. So for you first, Zach, where can people find you?
I'm at Zachity at everything. That's ZACITHY. And then Pathological Loser on YouTube. I have a few animated shorts on there.
All right. And Paul, where can people
As
find you?
usual, Twitter at Dork of Art, YouTube also at Dork of Art, and Twitch at AngelSword21.
Yes. And you can find me at twitch.tv/the Slayer Giant, where you can also see a bunch of my streams be uploaded here at XCape Media YouTube.
You've been streaming a lot of stuff like Ikushima and all that.
Avengers. I did Destiny yesterday also.
It's got recent things, guys. Go check that out.
Yes. You can also find me at Twitter at @A_Dorsegovia. You can find me at Instagram at Alejandro Segovia 93. And you can find my written content at thecriticalcorner.com. Zach, thank you so much for your time. Same for you, Paul. And remember, everyone, press X.
To play.
See you guys later.
Adios.